And the Los Angeles Lakers' great season has been reduced to a single game, and anything can happen in one game. The Staples Center here in downtown Los Angeles is filled to capacity. Welcome to the playoffs on TNT. The Sacramento Kings and Los Angeles Lakers tied at 2 wins apiece. A pleasant good evening, everyone. Kevin Harlan alongside John Thompson, Danny Ainge, and Craig Sager. Great to have you with us tonight from Southern California. There isn't a movie premiere in Hollywood that can match the anxiety and the edginess that this Game 5 presents the Lakers and their fans. We're only 4 games into the postseason in the NBA, and the once thought to be invincible Lakers are on the ropes. This the team with the best regular season record, the probable MVP, a superstar in the making, and one of the most decorated coaches in the history of the NBA. With that said, John Thompson, whatever happens will begin and end with Shaquille O'Neal for Los Angeles. Let's talk about him and his problems over the last couple games.
Well, Kevin, what has to happen is the Lakers have to move the ball. Shaq has to move his body because he's got more uninvited guests than you would want on a Sunday dinner. But when you're looking at him now, guys are going by him, they're tagging him. The other Lakers players have to hit those open shots. He's got to make good passes to make the Sacramento team pay for coming back in there like that.
Now, John, Shaq can't do it all by himself, as we can see right here. Who else is going to help him tonight?
Well, I think Glenn Rice has to help him. The Lakers have to use that triangle offense by running options for Glenn Rice. Once he hits some outside shot, those uninvited guests that Shaq have will go home.
What about the Sacramento Kings? 1 game away from Nirvana. And Danny Ainge, the great story there has been Chris Webber, and the Lakers have not been able to stop him.
I think I can stop him right now. I'm fired up for this game. But the power forwards of the Lakers have been nowhere near stopping Chris Webber. He's taken the ball to the basket more aggressively the last 2 games. When they backed off him, he's been knocking down that medium-range jump shot at will. And even when they've defended him well, he's been finding the basket. When all else fails, Shaq comes for the double team. Webber's picked him apart with 8 assists in the last 2 games, destroying the defense of this Lakers that's supposed to be the best defense in the league.
And John, Thompson was talking about the bench of Los Angeles. What about the bench of Sacramento?
Well, Sacramento's bench has destroyed him, 76-19 in the last 2 games. But the thing that stands out the most, 14-29 road record for this Sacramento team. Coming in here to play the Lakers, 40-5 in this building this year. They're going to have to be their best.
It'll be tough. Well, yesterday to the Los Angeles press, Ron Harper told the fans to come here early and leave home the cell phones. Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. In just a moment, we send you to Atlanta with Ernie Johnson. Then it's back here to the rockin' Staples Center. The Lakers and Kings next on TNT. In a vice grip of double-team Laker defense and out of bounds with 15 seconds on the shot clock.
So, Kevin, a perfect example of that is that I felt that Anderson should have gone on in, let Shaq block it, but still take the chance of trying to pick up a foul on him, but not pull up and end up shooting what amounts to an air ball.
And illegal defense quickly blown against the Los Angeles Lakers. And ironically, Danny, it has been that cry by Los Angeles against the defense of Sacramento.
Yeah, both teams have used their wisdom and their experience for the coaches. They've done a good job of trying to work the officials in the newspapers, complaining about the fouling and the zoning off by the Kings and the physical play of Webber.
Webber jousting with Green. Shaq inhales the rebound. And here comes Kobe Bryant for 3. Rebound retrieved by Jason Williams. A 2-on-2. He'll launch a 3 on the fly and knock it down.
Well, it's just as important for the Lakers to run back because when Sacramento played in Sacramento, they got a lot of uncontested early offense baskets. The Lakers have to get back quickly and pick these people up because they're a run-oriented team.
Green, who has not had a very good series. And the Kings the other way. Williams looking for Webber. He was shoved from behind with the Los Angeles Laker foul. And they call it on A.C. Green for the first time tonight.
Well, A.C.'s had a tough time defending Webber in the post. And right here, Webber's trying to back him down, use his strength. Great defense. He knows Webber likes to go to his right hand. He had a pretty good shot. He's been making those in the 2 previous games.
Green again is stuck on Webber.
Well, you know, it's definitely interesting in watching that at the tempo of this game. And these guys are getting up and down the floor. You're absolutely correct. The Lakers seem to be a little bit more energetic than they were before.
Oh, yeah, they're coming out fired up. And what about the illegal defense, what we were just talking about? Officials saw it, but that was flagrant because they had AC Green off the ball, weak side, isolated high. In the first game, he was around the basket and inside the free throw line, so Weber could cheat.
Here comes Shaq. Another illegal defense. That is the second in a row. It'll be a technical shot. And possession for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Weber's complaining about the rule, but he's wrong. He's saying there's two guys isolated. You can have one man down, but Jason Williams is already down, and Glenn Rice is strong side. I know that's very complicated, but the referees are right. Chris Webber is illegal.
And playing right into the Lakers' hands.
But Shaq had the biggest smile. There's the most emotions I've seen him show in a long time. When they called it, he and Kobe got together and started to laugh on the opposite side of the floor.
It's a great adjustment by Phil Jackson because they're complaining about the illegal defense. And again, they have AC Green lifted, isolated above the top of the circle on the weak side. And Chris Webber's not used to that.
Green to Harper. Shot clock is down to 6.
Yes.
Inside to Shaq. He got great position on Divac. Danny, talk about the illegal defense.
Okay. They got AC Green on the weak side. You see AC Green right here. If he gets above the top of the circle right here, then Chris Webber has to be above the free throw line right here. He's down below the free throw line with AC Green isolated. Webber's been zoning off in here the whole series. Now they caught him. Good adjustment by Phil Jackson.
And what does it do to the mental framework of the Kings? There's a timeout on the floor. Such a large percentage of the success of the Lakers, Danny, this year, it'd be almost out of character to include anybody else with the big three.
Oh, I got it. It was a little interesting right there about the second play of the game. They ran a play for AC Green to come off and shoot a jump shot, knowing that they got to get some contributions out of some more people. But the Laker bench, Fox, Shaw, and Ori have really got to step it up tonight.
You don't see a lot of plays, it seems at least, on the outside run for Glenn Rice.
Yes, and you know, they do a little bit of posting up for him, but basically he's the third option. He's going to get the leftovers of Shaq's and Kobe's double teams.
Sacramento has started the game 1 of 5 shooting from the floor. Webber again, who's missed his only shot, and Anderson's three will not fly. The rebound is brought down by Ron Harper. Truly an extension of Phil Jackson on the floor.
Well, it has to be an extension, but they have to get movement. Their last possession, everybody on the Laker offense moved. It was movement of ball and movement of body, and that stops people from spotting up and collapsing on Shaq.
Harper across the lane, then down the lane. The rebound by Divac. And a 4-on-3, and Divac flips it outside, and Anderson will pry his way inside for a closer-in shot with a loose ball foul assessed inside. And it's on Chris Webber, who picks up his first of the game.
Well, I still like the fact that the Kings are trying to run. They can get down before the Lakers and get shots, but if they don't have shots, the key to it is to take their time, move the basketball, try to get it inside, and make Shaq play defense.
I also see a lot different offense out of the Lakers. They're doing a lot of things. Shaq was actually isolated on the strong side that time, ran a pick and roll out of the corner. We haven't seen any of that. This is all we've been seeing is Shaq in the block.
Late double team on O'Neal, rejected by Webber. Count the 2 on the goaltend. And the Los Angeles Lakers have jumped on top of the Kings 9-3. Shaq 6 points and a 3 of 3 start in this one. Driving down the lane is Jason Williams. The rebound is out of bounds and off Sacramento.
Well, they didn't make the shot, but I think Jason was going in the right direction. He's going towards the basket. If you recall, in the last game, they got 2 early fouls on Shaquille, and it affected the tone of the whole basketball game from then on out.
Rice and Williamson on the perimeter. Shot clock is down to 10 for Shaq. Back to Bryant. Quickly setting up around the O'Neal screen, the drive and the flip. Green is left uncovered. Shaq with the rebound, but throws it right back to Sacramento the other way. Divac, the mismatch on Rice. Doubled by Harper. And a foul on the Lakers on the block. And this one's on Glenn Rice, who picks up his first of the game for L.A.
Good recognition right there on the Sacramento break, coming down the court, seeing that Rice was on Divac on the post. Divac did the right thing by taking it to the basket.
Weber and Green. Late double on Weber, but enough to stop the shot. But the second try is what got it in.
Well, the second try, he went in the right direction. And taking the shot, he was in a position, because he hit it towards the basket, of being able to get the rebound.
Rick Adelman has just been teed up for Sacramento, the coach.
Well, you know, Rick's got to be a little bit concerned coming into this building. They've been the aggressors, the instigators in Game 3 and Game 4. Right now, it looks like the Lakers are being a little bit more aggressive until that last aggressive drive by Chris Webber.
But the thing that Sacramento has to be careful of is that they don't want to get distracted from their game plan and get themselves too emotionally caught up in the officiating in this ball game.
Well, John, two things have happened. First of all, two illegal defenses in the span of 6 seconds, and now this tee. And for a team like Sacramento, which needs a lot to go the right way tonight, that is not a good early way to start this game.
Well, it's not a good way at all, particularly against a strong team like L.A. You have to stay focused, and you have to remember that that crowd will get emotionally in it when you're in that building and picking up texts and criticizing the officials.
Rice. Good defense by Williamson. Anderson collects the rebound. The Kings are down by 5. Here's Weber coming off a 23-point game. Outside again. Rebound dropped down by Shaquille O'Neal. He's grabbed 4 rebounds to start the game. Bryant to Shaq. The double by Williams and Divac. With Green snapping it outside. Harper thinking about 3. Slithering down the baseline. Rebound by Green. And a fresh 24. Kobe. Muscling inside. Double teamed and picked up by Divac.
Both teams are doing a lot of complaining, and the reason is because this game is being officiated different than the other games. They're letting them get away with a lot more.
And Anderson knocks down a 3.
Well, that's the first one he's hit off of that, but then you got to respect the fact that he's had confidence. He's had about 2 or 3 shots in that position. I still feel, though, that Lakers are far more successful when they run motion options off of that triangle offense as opposed to standing around and trying to get the ball into shot.
The decisive Game 5, the 8th seed Kings, the top seed Lakers. It's LA by 2. First round series in the Western Conference. As you take a look at Jason Williams, who hit a quick 3 to begin the game. The Sacramento Kings have already had 2 quick illegal defenses thrust on them, plus a technical foul on their coach, Rick Adelman. Any adjustments, Danny, you can quickly see with the Lakers to begin things here tonight?
Yeah, we talked about AC Green being isolated on the weak side, but also they're using Glenn Rice to feed the post more, so it's harder to sag off into his lap.
John?
Well, and you know, Danny, it's interesting. Green is open, but the man has been accustomed to all year not taking shots, being a role player, and it's a little difficult. Even if you watch right now, they're not even guarding him. It's a little difficult in a game of this importance to all of a sudden start taking shots and making them.
With a lot of character. Rice banking it home as he twirls inside and uses it for 2.
Well, we had a little mix-up right there with Harper and Jason Williams going at it a little bit. Danny Crawford came running in and calmed it down. That's this kind of game. You can just feel it in this building right now.
And Craig Sager, what do you have for us?
Ironically, during that last timeout, Rick Adelman told the team they were too hot-tempered and too hyped up. He said he'll do the talking to the officials. Then they put ice packs on a couple of the players, including Chris Webber, to cool him down so they wouldn't be so hot. Kevin?
All right, Craig. Williams, a notorious hothead, keeps his wits about him right here against the veteran Harper. Out of bounds it goes. That is the first turnover tonight by the Sacramento Kings. Neither team has made a substitution. The Kings are shooting 3 of 12 from the field. The Lakers 5 of 11. Rice and Shaq have 6 apiece. Green. Now Weber came out on him a little bit that time and he knocks it in.
Well, he didn't come out too far on him. He was just standing at the free throw line. But AC was out here for an hour working on that shot before the game. Missed his first couple, but I think he's going to make those if he gets enough of them.
Well, it's so important to Shaq that he hits those shots, and it's so important that the other perimeter players hit the shots, and then Shaq can go to work inside.
Oh, a great feed to Williamson, but he can't convert. Lakers the other way. It's Kobe Bryant. Maneuvering on Anderson, sliding in, out to Green. There's Weber with the defense. There's the drive by Green. Rebound by Divac again.
Well, you can see the Lakers continue to double team down on Weber, and their rotations have been awful. They've been giving up lay-ins in game 4, and they just gave up a lay-in right there that Corliss Williamson missed.
Again, they are just conceding the shot to AC Green.
Well, looking at it, you know, they're backing off of him and daring him to hit the shot. They don't have a lot of respect for him taking that shot. He makes that one, but it's very difficult when you've been in a role of not doing that. Now he's got in a big situation. He's got to hit those shots.
AC first field goal since the second quarter of game 3 moments ago.
I mean, look at him. They're not even guarding him, and they have Chris Webber guarding him, so he's in a position to help out on other players, just as he did there.
Kobe Bryant, who has had 3 consecutive games of 30 points or more.
And that is a great option right there. AC Green not being guarded, Webber sagging off on the strong side. AC goes and sets a great screen to get Kobe free.
Webber the only one moving for the Kings right there. The rebound by O'Neal.
Well, the Kings have to be certain that they do what they did before. They've got to come up with foul situations if they don't get baskets.
Charge inside on AC Green, away from the driving Ron Harper, and AC Green picks up his second of the game.
Well, AC right here was trying to use a moving screen right here on Vlade, just trying to box him out. That's a good call by the official.
I thought you were getting ready to say a movie screen because we are in Hollywood, and both of them are great actors.
Neither team has made a substitution. Where's the bench for Sacramento?
Well, I think Tony Delk has been the best, most consistent backcourt player in the whole series, and Stojakovic the best shooter, so I'm sure we'll see them very soon.
Kings trailing by 8, biggest deficit tonight. It's Williamson to Weber, and Green is right there with the shot clock showing 2. Weber again from outside hits it, and Weber now 2 of 6.
He can make that shot, but the thing that caused the Lakers problems was his posting and his driving when he was in Sacramento, because that put Shaq in a defensive frame of mind.
Rice driving down the lane, and Shaq is there, dropping the sledgehammer.
And that's beautiful basketball by Rice. You have to get up and contest his shots. He's so long and a quick release. He takes it to the basket. It opens up the tip-in for Shaq.
Williams careening down the lane, and a foul called on Los Angeles.
Right here you see Rice. He can take Corliss off the dribble because he has to get so close on him. Vlade doing everything he can to keep Shaq off the boards, but he's just not strong enough.
He did everything, including fouling.
Shaq has 8 with 6 rebounds so far. You can see the offensive rebound story right there. A couple new players have come in. Stojakovic has come in for the Kings. And Robert Horry has come in for the aforementioned AC Green for the Los Angeles Lakers. And we talked earlier this morning, guys, about rebounding and the significance it stands for Sacramento tonight.
Well, yes, and 25 offensive rebounds, 10 in the first quarter of game 1 kind of set the tone. So in game 3 and game 4, Sacramento matched them on the boards, and that's what they're going to have to do here on the road.
Well, and it's extremely important in terms of the motion, because Shaq now is in a position that he wasn't in the last game with having 3 and 4 people collapse around him. Because the other players are active, he's in a position to get good shots like this and get offensive rebounds.
And John, that's the kind of shot that Shaq has not been making the last 2 games.
Well, he hasn't been making it because he's had everybody climbing on him and been encaged by 3 people. But because of the motion of the offense of the Lakers now, he has more options.
Shaq is 5 of 5. Divac against O'Neal. Rebound by Robert Horry. Triggers it now to Harper. With under 3 to play here in the first quarter. Lakers shooting 53%, Kings 23%. Another illegal defense, the 3rd on Sacramento.
Same thing, Chris Webber. He has not adjusted to the adjustment by the Lakers. He keeps pointing to the officials, and he's looking confused. I'm not sure if he's trying to con the officials or if he just has not been able to figure it out.
And that's not good in a game 5.
But you can see Robert Horry right here. Webber has to be up above the free throw line. He's illegal, plain as could be. Good call by the officials.
Rice is already 2 of 2 from the free throw line, and there's his 3rd free throw tonight, so his 7 points. A concern for Chris Webber, Rick Adelman, and the Sacramento Kings. You wonder almost what these illegal defense calls will do to the mindset of the Kings, thinking one way and being directed another.
Well, but at some point they have to make an adjustment. You can't keep arguing with the officials. At some point you've got to adjust and change.
They got to adjust to Kobe Bryant too.
Yes, they do. And I think they need to do more of that with Shaq. Use him as a screener. Right there, Kobe comes off for a wide open jump shot because Vlade does not want to leave him.
But he drives down the lane right into the teeth of the
they have to do, because Shaq is going to be conscious, particularly in the first quarter, of picking up fouls. Vlade didn't stand outside and take that jump shot. He went towards Shaq.
No double on Shaq. It's just Divac. Now the late double by Williams. Shaq misses his first shot tonight. Weber out to Williams, and the Kings the other way. A three. He's hit one. He misses the second. The rebound by Shaquille O'Neal. He's got 7.
That's one of those shots. Jason Williams sees Tony Delk over there on the bench. He wants to get one more shot up before he comes out.
Shaq the screen. Ori maneuvering on the mismatch on Divac.
Well, that was beautiful on Shaq's part. Rather than sit on the box, Danny, he stepped off and came and set a screen on Ori's man, which gives him more options. Ori comes out and he nails that shot. The last game, Shaq just stood on the box and asked for the ball. Now he's cutting, he's moving, he's a lot more active.
Weber the drive into 2 defending Lakers. Another miss. Weber has started the game 2 of 7. Kobe Bryant. Down the lane. And whacked by Nick Anderson. What detonation by Kobe Bryant as he took it down the lane.
And this is what I'm talking about. You know, Shaq didn't stay on the box. He came out and set a nice little light screen, didn't punish the guy, got the man open for a shot, and then now that makes the defense adjust on him because everybody's afraid to leave Shaq. And so whoever he's screening for obviously is going to have a good opportunity to score.
Kobe Bryant has truly been the most consistent Laker playoff performer. As we said, over 30 points a game the last 3 in a row.
Very difficult matchup for any of the 2 guards. He's bigger than Barry and Delk. He's a lot quicker than Nick Anderson. Tough matchup for Sacramento.
But he scored so well, Danny. Does that mean that Los Angeles goes only as far as Shaq can take him? Because with Shaq not playing well the last 2 games and Kobe playing well, they've lost 2 in a row.
Well, they need more production out of somebody. They got nothing out of their bench in the last 2 games either. They don't have to have Shaq to put big numbers, but he's got to create some offense through double teams and the teammates helping him out.
Well, they're putting the hitman on Kobe. They're putting the hitman on Shaq. The other players now have to at least get minimum. They have to get layups. They have to get transition baskets to make them play those 2 stars honestly.
Weber out too far. And against the defense of Ori with Shaquille O'Neal on the bench and Travis Knight in the game. A foul called on the Lakers, and it's assessed to Ori for the first time tonight. The ex-Houston Rocket, who has some championship rings in his pocket, 94 and 95. And here is Chris Webber. And the Kings truly have been defined by Weber's success in the postseason.
Yes, they have. And, you know, he's such a great player offensively. He can pass. What they've done tonight is he's going to score his points. He hasn't been shooting the ball like he did in 3 and 4, but they've got to take away those assists that he's getting. 8 each in the last 2 games.
4 substitutions. John Barry and Tony Delk have come in for the Kings. And Derek Fisher, a one-time second-round draft choice out of tiny Arkansas Little Rock, who hasn't played the last couple games, checks in for L.A. in the final 55 seconds of the first quarter.
Well, I think Delk is one of the reasons why Fisher's in the game, because Delk is a speed person. The Lakers' big guards have had a lot of trouble in keeping up with him, but now you put Fisher in the game, you put more speed in the game for the Lakers.
Right, the screen, Fisher on the perimeter. Kobe gets it off to Rice. Rice with 7 points. Got the screen he needed.
Far more movement, Kevin, in the Lakers offense this time than last game when they played. And as a result of it, you got to go a little bit, as I said to the top of the show, to Rice some. Scott
Pollard just in the game got a magnificent feed from Chris Webber.
That's a great fast break opportunity. They trapped in the backcourt. Robert Horry got caught. He loves to shadow trap in the back, and that made him pay because Webber took the ball up like a point guard.
57% shooting for the Lakers. Kings at 28%. Horry thinking about 3, the deceptive move, and the pitch to Fisher with the drive down the lane.
Well, it's great penetration. You know, they got good movement. Good movement not only helps Shaq, it's helping their perimeter people who are not taking a lot of outside shots, but it helps them to get to the basket.
Webber trying to beat the clock for 3, and does, right between the eyes. They needed that in the worst way. But the big 3 for the Los Angeles Lakers of Kobe Bryant with 6 points, Glenn Rice with 9, and Shaquille O'Neal, a one-man wrecking crew with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Feed right here. They'll need more of that, the Kings will, if they want to stay alive. At the end of one, the Lakers lead Sacramento 31-20. Todd took care of Seattle. Tonight, the Lakers and the Kings. And what about the bench mob for Sacramento, Danny?
Well, Stojakovic, Delk, and Barry, along with Weber and Divac, I think is their best team.
Let's send it over to Craig Sager.
Derek Fisher didn't play in the last game. The first time he's not playing the game by a coach's decision since his rookie year. He's not one to complain, but he spread the word in the locker room that he's been guarding Tony Delk since he was 14 in AAU rivalries in Memphis. He then substantiated his point during film sessions by pointing out that only once in the 3 games when he guarded Delk had he scored against him. Kevin?
Oh, terrific story. Thank you, Greg. We start the second quarter with Weber out there, Stojakovic, Delk, Barry, and Pollard, who sets a mammoth screen on Rice, and Stojakovic is short. Here comes Fisher the other way.
Well, Fisher's really focused. First, he denied Delk the ball. Then once Delk got the ball, he put a lot of pressure on him, boxed him out on the shot, and got the rebound. So he's accepting this as a challenge. A lot of players talk about guarding people, but he seems to be doing a good job.
Shot clock at 7. Pollard and O'Neal. Kobe with the hesitation, the deceptive move. Rebound by Stojakovic.
Well, I like the pressure that Fisher's putting on Delk as well. See, Delk is really not a point guard. He's more of a scorer, and so Fisher can disrupt him, trying to bring the ball up the court.
Weber dancing with Orion, feeding to Pollard. What a great feed.
Well, that was a real good pass. I mean, he penetrates, he drops the ball off. But I would still rather see Chris do what he did last game, is initiate a lot of his offense from a low position as opposed to being so far out.
And Shaq is right where he wants to be.
And talk about getting lower on the post. You can't guard Shaq if he can catch the ball that deep.
Throw the white flag in if he catches the ball right there,
wow.
Kevin. It's over.
Delk for 2. He's been shooting 50% in these playoffs from the field. Ori Rice, Fisher, Bryant, and Shaq, the 5 for the Lakers. Shaq with Pollard there. Shaquille O'Neal tonight is 7 of 8 from the floor.
Well, they're giving him too much room now. First, the Kings were collapsing. This bunch off of the bench might have been doing a good job, but they've got to be more active on Shaq, or he'll just absolutely annihilate them if they let him single coverage inside.
Barry open for 3.
Big shot by Barry, and that's what's so difficult to defend about this team out there. They can't defend Weber one-on-one, and they got Delk, Barry, and Stojakovic, the 3 best shooters on the squad.
And they've hit 4 threes already.
And they've hit 4 3, and they're going to get more because I think Weber's going to demand a lot of attention.
Bryant out to Fisher with the O'Neal screen.
Fisher talked about his defense, Danny, but that's something that Lakers need. They need their perimeter people to hit the shot so Shaq will have more freedom inside.
Lakers look so much more under control tonight as Stojakovic feeds to Delk, flips it over to Weber, again shooting from outside, but unlike the last time we were here, hitting from outside.
Yeah, you know, those are good shots for him. He's really been knocking that shot down in the last few. But, you know, I really like the energy of this Laker team as well, and I think Fisher's added a lot of energy for him.
Bryant with the corkscrew jump shot.
Well, he's tough. You know, a lot of things that he gets away with, particularly against a set defense, unbelievable for a player as young as he is.
Drive by Delk, a lot of congestion inside the lane with a quick foul assessed to Derek Fisher with his first.
This is exactly what they're trying to do, is help from the weak side and flood Kobe when he puts the ball on the floor. This is what they haven't been able to do, is knock down the perimeter shots, making them pay for that cheating defense.
Lakers have the best home record in the NBA, and they lead the Kings 39-27.
In deeper and deeper and deeper.
Well, the only thing about telling him, Shaq didn't feel it when they fouled Michael Jordan. Heck, he feels it when they foul him. Why should he worry about what happened to Michael?
Well, John, he's so big. How can he feel it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. He's so big. He's got a nervous system. He gets hit 5 times, and then they call 1 foul.
He delivers his share of blows, too.
He sure should.
Delk at the free throw line. The Lakers have never trailed tonight as you take a look at O'Neal with his 14 points and 8 rebounds. Lakers have led by as many as 14, up now 39-29 with 3 minutes gone here in the second quarter.
I like with Sacramento right now, how they've hung in here. The crowd has been going crazy. They've been playing great. They've been shooting the ball great. That is the Lakers. And they've just kind of hung on. They're keeping themselves in range.
Shaq quickly drawing the double, but Ori was inside, and that will be key for the Lakers tonight, the playmaking ability of O'Neal.
Well, and also the cut that was made by Ori. You know, once somebody is double or triple team, the players that are open have to either set a screen for a shooter or make a cut towards the basket so they can receive the ball.
On 4 of 4 from the field tonight, Weber got Ori to drop, exploits the lack of defense, and hits it, and it's a 10-point game again.
Big shot by Weber. He's just carrying them offensively, doing everything. They're relying on him to give them all the offense that they have by creating for their shooters or scoring himself.
Here comes Barry on the double with Pollard, but look at Shaq nimbly moving in the lane, and the rebound by Stojakovic. Out to Barry. He's knocked down 1-3 already. Weber has got most of his points outside. And a loose ball foul called on the Kings. It's inside, and they assess it on Pollard for the first time.
And these passes were wide open in Game 4. A.C. Green was around the rim with less traffic than this even. But Shaq watched the films. I'm sure Phil Jackson told him the basket is open on those double teams.
Well, and I think it's more conducive for it, too, because they're getting far more movement. More people are involved in the Lakers offense than Shaq. As a result of it, that gives him more options.
More guys involved, John, like Derek Fisher.
Hey, Derek Fisher is playing a heck of a game. He's doing a good job defensively, but he's hitting the outside shot that is very essential for Shaq to get points inside.
Fisher is already 3 of 3. And going right at Delk, who picks up a charge right there.
And he's the best flopper in basketball. He's on the first team all-flop team. I don't think that was a foul. Delk stopped his momentum. He bumped into him, but he stopped his momentum. He just jumped in front of him.
That's what you're supposed to do, jump in front of the man defensively. You don't let him go. Look at this play.
But Delk just stopped his momentum.
Oh, that's great.
That's a flop.
You're supposed to flop.
This is Game 5. This is Game 5. Get up.
7.5 to
Game
play
5
on the
and
half.
Shaq should be hit.
Kobe got free. Lakers are moving better without the ball tonight.
And they're just more confident. It's amazing what easy baskets do. You see Fisher gets a lay-in, get himself going, knocks down the 2 jumpers. Kobe gets to the basket easy. All of a sudden that basket gets a lot bigger.
Rick Adelman trying to inoculate him and his team from what is a charged-up atmosphere for the Lakers, who lead the Kings 45-31. 5 Philadelphia, and hopefully a healthy Allen Iverson. And what about the matchup between 2-seed Miami, 3-seed New York? Buckle up, baby. That will be a war. We're in Los Angeles tonight. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge, and Craig Sager. If you've just joined us, Shaquille O'Neal having a monster game. So far, 14 points and 9 rebounds. 7 minutes to play in the first half. The Lakers have their biggest lead of 14 points right now. Here's Weber. And illegal defense for a second time on Los Angeles. So a technical shot by Sacramento and possession. The Kings tonight have already had 3 assess them. And a whistling Phil Jackson up and off the bench with a word to Kobe Bryant.
I don't know what Phil's saying, but he's telling them that they're isolated on the weak side. You can ball fake into the paint. I don't know who they called the illegal defense on.
Barry hits the technical throw. Let's take a look at it.
Well, right here, they're all legal right now. They're all legal right now. Shaq's legal, but he can only be in that paint for 2.9 seconds. Yeah, he never does get out of the lane. That's a good call. He can only flash into the paint for 2.9 on defense.
Stojakovic has been such an offensive weapon, but scoreless so far. Snaps it outside to Delk with the runner. That was a big shot.
It was a real big shot, and it showed a lot of courage because Fisher has been doing a great job on him, even denying him the ball when he's on the weak side away from the ball.
Shaq out to Fisher, who hasn't missed tonight. He is 4 of 4 from the field.
And you can see he's wide open. They have not adjusted. Sacramento is going to continue to make those guys make shots. And if they do, they're going to win this game.
Lakers have hit 12 of their last 14 from the floor, 66%. Barry going right at Ori. And the ball ricochets off Ori's shin. Sacramento to inbound with 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, I still like Weber inside a little bit more the way he was the last game, causing more concern for O'Neal to come over and to help. He's doing a great job of hitting his shots with his outside, but I don't believe he creates as much problem from outside position as opposed to in that medium post.
Stojakovic missing a 3. Rebound by O'Neal. The Laker bench tonight, 6 of 6.
They're doing a great job, and it's all been sparked by Fisher, not only on the offensive end, knocking down the jumpers, but defensively, he's been spectacular.
Particularly when he flopped.
Robert Ory with the three. That's the first bench miss. A 3-on-2. Delk pulling up, stopping on a dime, and Fisher was there. Stojakovic trying to put it in, and does.
Don't get me wrong, Coach. I love the flop.
You taught the flop.
Absolutely. You got to flop. That's why, but it's frustrating as an offensive player.
Lakers take a timeout, and it's a 11-point Los Angeles lead. The decisive fifth game. Lakers on top, 47-36.
They haven't been able to hit the outside shot as Fisher is doing today. As a result of it, that creates a big problem for Shaquille. They might have been playing other phases of the game, but this is very important, particularly with a guy like Shaquille in the middle.
Kobe's on the bench. Rice back in the game. Here comes Shaq. Single coverage at Divac, the ex-Laker. Tap and try by Ory won't go. Shaq is there with the tomahawk.
What great conditioning. I mean, Shaq just gets double-teamed in there. He just keeps throwing it up off the glass. He's just relentless around the basket and too strong for Vlade to handle.
Kings with 2 starters and 3 bench players in right now. 5 to play in the first half. Divac with a sleight of hand. Delk across the lane. Weber maneuvering with a seductive fake on Rice. Rebound by Ory. Lakers the other way, shooting 61%. The Kings 38%. Screen by Shaq. The shot by Rice, and he missed everything.
You can just see Rice so antsy. He wants the ball so bad, he has to get his shots up. But right here, Shaq is just too overpowering. He gets the shot. You got the 2 big guys in there. He gets a second effort, a third effort, keeps it alive. He's just unbelievable for a big man.
Well, particularly when you're carrying 3 guys up hanging on you and you don't get the foul as a result of it.
Ron Harper and Fisher in the backcourt. Ory, Shaq, and Rice up front for Los Angeles. Rick Fox will check in just a second.
See, this is what I like. I like Weber a little bit lower, causing Shaq to help and getting other people open.
Nick Anderson back in. His shot has gone astray most of the night. Rebound Ory.
Yeah, you know, I like the offensive run. Weber's trying to create all the offense and the outside movement, but every time Nick Anderson touches it, he just jacks up threes.
And he's 1 of 6 tonight. Shaq, single coverage. The late double. Shaquille O'Neal has 18 first-half points for the Lakers.
Not only is it a big shot right here and a great shot by Shaq as he being aggressive, but the double teams aren't near as aggressive. Here you see Jason Williams come down, and he just gets out of the way. He doesn't do anything. His presence, that's what he did in Game 1 and Game 2, and he didn't do in Game 3 and Game 4.
Tell me, Danny, what could Jason Williams do?
He could have got in front of him or taken a charge.
I got a better suggestion. Call 911.
Here comes Shaq with his second free throw tonight. He's 0 of 2. Rick Fox is in, the new daddy. Wife actress Vanessa Williams gave birth to their first child in New York on Monday.
I guarantee you in the Knicks, whenever they play, when they run into Jason Kidd Knicks series or John Stockton in the Knicks series, they're not jumping out of the way.
A 3 by Bryant. Tapped by Ory. Volleyballs at the Harper and keeps it alive. This is a completely different Laker team tonight.
And the difference is motion of ball, motion of men. They're giving themselves options for offensive rebounds. Other people are able to score. And this kid is just unbelievably unstoppable, I think, once you get motion in your offense.
We went a jump ball with some nice defense by Chris Webber.
Yeah, good call by Ronnie Nunn there, I thought. Good play by Weber. But I agree with you, Coach. I like the aggressiveness, and I like their confidence offensively.
Ronnie Nunn was a high school basketball legend on the streets of New York. Played college ball, and here he is in the NBA as one of the best referees.
I like refs that played the game.
Yeah, well, he did, and he played it well. Rebounding, a huge story. Oh, Chris Webber inside.
The Lakers even knew what was coming. Shaq was standing right there at the basket. Perfect pass by Vlade Divac to Weber.
Well, in particular, because that pass went right over Shaq. And you know, a great pass and a great catch on Weber's part.
Robert Ory throws his body into a sea of purple defenders and still got it to go. He's got 6. Anderson Into Weber. There he is inside again, John, and the foul is called on the Lakers. It's happened virtually every time he's taken it inside, and Shaq picks up a foul. That is his first tonight.
Look at Shaq is not out guarding Vlade. He's and that, I mean, 1 inch higher, 1 inch lower, it's incomplete.
Well, particularly because Shaq reacted. I mean, he went up. That pass had to be beautifully timed. But I love what Chris Webber just did. This is what I was talking about. If he gets the ball and is attacking the basket, he creates fouls. He changes the tone of the game. But standing out and shooting a shot on the three-point for your best post-up guy is great, but you only get the 3. You don't get the psychological benefits of the foul.
But Danny, you have noticed that he's got almost a mid-range positioning now. He's shown the last 2 games.
Yes, he's in the medium post, kind of like where Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant like to post. It's different than a typical low-post player. He can see the double teams coming. He's a terrific passer, and he's 1 dribble either way from the basket.
Lakers have been great holding onto the ball. No turnovers.
Boy, they got 4 perimeter guys moving rather than standing in the shell around Shaq. And this guy, you're not going to be able to guard him if you do that a lot, or Shaq is going to be wide open inside.
Nice ball rotation. Oh, Shaq is stripped of the ball by Weber. Lakers' first turnover since 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Stojakovic from outside drills one home from 3.
You gotta love it. Sacramento's hanging right in there. Their defensive intensity has been picking up a little bit. The Lakers are still working hard. Sacramento's defense is doing it, and they're looking in the crowd. They're looking a lot more confident.
Shaq stripped moments ago, and the Kings convert at the other end.
Well, and Weber did a similar thing to Kobe in the last games. His hands are extremely quick. You know, he reached in, he caught Shaq dribbling the ball. He waited until he put it on the floor. A lot of teams attacked on the pass. He attacked on the dribble. When Shaq took his eye off of him, he took it, they got a fast break.
And tonight in Sacramento, over 17,000 fans are watching this game on big screen TVs. They had to turn people away from the turnstiles. This is not the Staples Center. This is in Sacramento. They had moments ago something to cheer about. Their team coming to within 10 on Stojakovic's big shot from outside. He's got 5 in the game.
Where else in the NBA do you see that? Fill a stadium, closed circuit TV. I love that.
It's terrific.
Well, and everybody seems to have put away their cell phones because they really are yelling in here tonight.
The Kings have scored the last 5 after the Lakers' big lead of 15, 53-38. Kobe Bryant over Anderson, who never got a hand up to defend.
Right, and look at Nick Anderson's telling Vlade, you got to at least give me a show. You got to help. And Vlade's going, hey, I jump out. I'm dead on the boards with Shaq. He's got his work cut out.
No, Vlade said, don't put that bad luck on me. I'm not switching on this young kid.
But perhaps not in that good of English. There's a Laker foul. As Stojakovic will be at the line, and Rick Fox picks up his first. Vlade Divac, who was the guy involved in the trade. As you take a look at the Serbian Stojakovic at the line, he was the guy in the trade that brought the rights of Kobe Bryant to the Los Angeles Lakers.
A gutsy trade, but the reason that the Lakers were able to take that gamble, and a lot of teams weren't, because he knew, or they knew, in my opinion, that they were going to get Shaq.
Well, and that's a whole lot to get. That's not a real gamble, as Danny is saying, if you've got Shaquille O'Neal coming in.
Fox finds Shaq. There's the quick double, knocked away. That's what the Kings have done the last 2 games. Jason Williams back in, and right off the bat, he turns one over.
Yeah, it was too bad. It was a good defensive play and just a tough break on the turnover. But Shaq is looking for the basket. He just has to get up over him, jump a little higher, or get his arms up in the air. Good deflection right there by Vlade.
Oh, a technical foul has just been assessed. Rick Fox. A double tech with Fox and Anderson both getting teed up by Ronnie Nunn. Quickly diffusing what could have been a tough situation. Harper, Fox, Shaq. The shot clock is down to 10. Bryant wanted to feed inside and gets it to Fox. Shaq putting it down.
And that was pretty. It was ball movement. It was body movement. As a result of it, they found openings and they got offensive rebounds.
Chris Webber. The defense late to get there. Didn't matter. The Kings are shooting 39%. Lakers 59% in the first half.
And that was a great job by Rick Fox getting down. They had the double team, and he picked up Shaq's man, Vlade, diving to the basket for the board. Did a good job of boxing out.
Here comes Shaq. Outside. Great rebound by A.C. Green. And the power forward position is heard from for the Lakers.
Boy, they're far more aggressive than they were the last game. The players who are not being doubled are now making cuts to the basket. They're filling the weak side and offside rebounding position.
Never again forced to take one from outside.
Well, I just don't think that's the answer. Particularly in a game like this. He can hit those shots. He's got great skill. But he's also one of their best post-up people. And at least you can come up with a foul if you don't get the basket by penetrating or posting up.
Harper with 3. Over the backboard and out of bounds. With 3.5 seconds to play in the first half.
Webber right here, he doesn't do a very good job of boxing out. Look at him grab A.C. Green. The guy's been doing that for 1,100 straight games. He's an amazing guy, A.C. Green.
Divac trying to beat the buzzer. Blocked by Kobe Bryant. Shaquille O'Neal, a monster half. 20 points. 14 rebounds. He had 10 points in the second quarter. Struggling the last 2 games. Tonight, he has been simply spectacular. Let's send it over to Craig Sager.
Well, Derek, you didn't complain, but you let it be known that you knew how to guard Tony Delk, who's been averaging 12 points a game in this series. What'd you do against him?
Well, I just try to stay down and stay in front of him. Tony's a great shooter. I just try to go out there, bring some energy, play hard.
With so many people doubling Shaq, how are you open to go 4 for 4?
Well, as you said it, they're doubling Shaquille. They have to in order to be successful. His teammates have to step up and make shots, and we're doing that tonight at home.
Everybody was talking about the bench mob of Sacramento. Do you guys feel that you guys have to step up?
Well, we've always felt that. The big 3 always keep us in the games. Other guys have to step up and get the job done.
Great job in the first half.
Thanks.
Let's go back to Kevin.
Former second-round pick out of Arkansas, Little Rock. The improbable 5th and decisive game. Coming up next, the AT&T halftime report. The Lakers are shooting about 52% and lead at halftime, 59-44. We go to Atlanta next. Webber, because Webber's had some sensational passes in the first half.
Well, Webber's a great player, and he's a highlight package because he can do so many different things. Here you see some beautiful passes behind his back, underneath. Right here, a 30-foot bounce pass to Stojakovic on the break. And then a great feed to Pollard for an easy dunk. 4 of the team's 9 assists, and one of the reasons he has those 4 assists and all those points is they give him the ball and stand around and watch him play, hoping that he can create all the offense.
So we begin the second half with Williams, Delk in the same backcourt. Divac, Anderson, and Webber. And a turnover quickly for the Kings. 2-on-2, flying inside is Harper. And they got the biggest lead of the game, 17.
Biggest lead of the game. I like what Adelman's done, though. This is game 5. It's do or die. He's put Tony Delk, who's been the best backcourt player on the team, to start this half and take a Corliss Williamson out.
Delk on top, and that brings Shaq out of the middle. Here's Chris Webber with the fake, the drop step, and it won't go. And it's a 3-on-1. Green, blocked wide open down the middle.
Well, the Kings aren't getting back. They have to get back, Kevin. And I haven't seen the Lakers get out on a break in any of these series the way they're doing now.
Williams threads a pass to Divac, who hits Anderson. Good ball rotation to Delk. They need more of that.
That's great. And Jason Williams came off that pick aggressive and attacked the basket, drew the defense. They swung the ball around. Delk was open on the baseline.
Kobe Bryant has 12. Shaq has 20. Green to Harper.
And Harper yelled out to him to throw 4 passes. He wants to get movement because he knows when they've done that, they've had a lot of his success.
Kobe Bryant against Williams. Back to Harper. Into Shaq. Green fights for it, but Delk claims it. And here is Williams to Divac, who tries to cut and a whistle. And a charge. third on Divac.
Oh, and Vlade's losing his cool right now. Sacramento's team has lost their cool and their poise in this situation. I don't like the way they came out to start this half. They don't seem very desperate to me.
A technical foul on Vlade Divac, and he better watch out because he could get teed up again.
Well, not only had he better watch out, they better use some of this energy to get back to defense because the Lakers are running, they're intense. It's a different Laker team from what we saw the last game.
Rice a perfect 3 of 3 from the free throw line until that miss right there. And a 20-second timeout taken by the Sacramento Kings. Is it slipping away, Danny?
It is slipping away. I don't like the urgency in which they came out to play. Weber settled for a jump shot, a long jump shot that was contested, barely drew iron. They have had so much success in Game 3 and 4 attacking the basket, and I just don't see that urgency yet. They have no time to wait.
Well, it's not all bad to get excited about a call, but you've got to refunnel that energy and use it towards the Lakers. Getting excited about the official's call and not being able to let it go is just not a smart thing, and particularly when you're on somebody else's home court. They're letting this thing distract them rather than let them be concerned about what's going on.
Right here, I mean, this tells the whole story right here. Energy and heart and execution, that rebounding battle. Every time the Lakers have done that, it's been a lopsided game.
So the Kings, who have 2 early turnovers here in the third, had only 3 turnovers the entire first half. Weber looking for Shaq. Green on top, shot clock down to 9. And a whistle, 3 seconds inside, and it's blown on Glenn Rice.
You know, sometimes when you're having success in the playoff, it's not what you do, but what you don't do that helps your team. I'm very impressed with the fact that Kobe, with his exceptional talent, is not forcing the issue. He sees other people are doing things, and he's showing a lot of maturity.
Delk draws the double. It drives inside, crashing to the floor, bumped into Shaq, and a whistle blown inside on the Laker interior defense. And it's on O'Neal. Now they've changed it. It's on AC Green for a 3rd time on him.
AC does the right thing. Harper's pushing a baseline, but you can see when Fisher was in the game, he didn't get beat quite that bad. He just blows right by Harper, and AC's a little bit late getting over.
Well, and when the Kings were in Sacramento, they went in the direction of north and south a lot more than they did east and west. They were heading towards the basket. It created problems for the Lakers, just as Delk did when he drove that time. The Kings have to get more penetration, even if the shot is getting blocked.
You see with this 3-guard lineup that Sacramento's using right now, there's a little bit more full-court pressure.
You like it?
Absolutely. I think they should do it. I think it's one of the weaknesses the Lakers have.
Harper. Off to Kobe. Spinning by Delk. Rebound by Shaq.
Well, and Kobe caused that by his penetration. He forced people to come over to help on him, and then you left Shaq on the weak side to be able to get the rebound and put it back in.
Shaq's got 22. Falling there as Divac was pushing inside. Out of bounds it goes. The Kings will inbound, 14 seconds to shoot.
Well, right here, they come over to double team, but that's the cardinal rule. Delk lets Kobe go baseline. Shaq's got to clean up on the boards because Divac has to give a little bit of help on the drive.
Divac over Green, hitting outside.
No, that's a great shot. I mean, they're making those shots, but they aren't creating enough havoc by going inside.
Divac only has 4 points. 3 minutes gone here in the third quarter. Harper to Shaq. Nice move inside and across the lane with a whistle and a foul. And Divac is tagged with his 4th foul. So he's now in trouble.
Well, and very few people fake at the end of a drive. Most kids today, after they penetrate, they'll throw up anything. That's a great move on Shaq's part. He drove, he stopped, and then he gave the ball fake at the end of the drive, and Divac got off of his feet and ended up fouling it.
Divac will check out and Pollard comes
This is an example. Shaq looks, the help is not coming back. He's free, he penetrates, and then he gives a little ball fake after he stops. Divac thinks he's going to shoot and jumps, and Shaq ends up getting a shot.
And Shaq hasn't had that much room to maneuver the whole series.
Very good point.
But he keeps shooting free throws like that. He might as well pump fake from the free throw line.
You're terrible.
Shot clock at 9. Kobe Bryant back to Shaq in the lane and over to defending Sacramento Kings. This is the Shaq that we haven't seen since game 2. He's got 24.
What an incredible athlete. I mean, that was just a great play. I don't know very many 6'5" guys that can do that, let alone 7-footers.
I don't know 5'10" guys that can do that.
Weber with a good move, and Pollard will clean it up inside for the Kings.
Well, and I think, again, going towards the basket. Anytime you go towards the basket, you force help. If you don't make it or get a foul, you end up having great weak side positioning. They created frustrating, meaning the Kings, created frustration on the part of the Lakers the last game because of the direction they shot.
Shaq again rejected by Weber, and for a second time in the game, Weber is called for the goaltend. Count the 2 with 26 for O'Neal in the game.
See, the fact that Shaq's not in foul trouble, he can be a little bit more aggressive right now. But great penetration by Kobe. Little leaning jump shot in the lane for Shaq. All day long.
Well, and then if Shaq's not in foul trouble, you're absolutely correct. Because of this kind of shot, that's a great shot. It goes in. But it doesn't create frustration the way the Kings created frustration with the Lakers by penetrating the last game.
Jason Williams gets his first field goal since the opening minute of the game. And only his second in the last 45 minutes of playoff basketball. O'Neal doubled again, short on the shot. Rice vacuums it in and puts it down.
I'm not sure if that was a pass or an offensive board. I'm going to say it's a board, Coach.
But I am sure of the fact that the Kings, Danny, don't have the same intensity as you said. They're not boxing out. They're not hustling to get loose balls.
So Rice gets his first points since the first quarter. 7 minutes in the third. Shot clock at 5 for the Tanzalin, Jason Williams. Dancing free, firing to Pollard, rejected by Shaq. And a 24-second shot clock violation.
Jason Williams is just dribbling the ball too much. He got no penetration there. He gave the ball to Pollard with nothing to do.
Exactly. He gave it to Pollard at a time where Pollard had to take the shot, and he had to take it with Shaq right behind him because Jason dribbled so long, there was no time left on the clock.
The Lakers are shooting almost 60% with the commanding lead.
Take care of the ball down there. Let's go. Gotta be the aggressors down there. You gotta take it out of them. Come on.
Needs him to play some defense.
Well, he is, and he's asking them to be more aggressive, and that's what they were back in Sacramento. They didn't wait on these guys. They attacked them offensively. Defensively, they were trapping. They didn't give Shaq. I've never seen Shaq with this much space this year to operate in the post.
Harper gives it to the elusive Kobe Bryant. Spinning on Delk, gaining position. A thing of beauty.
And I like what Coach said, too. Kobe's been very patient offensively, knowing that everybody else is getting their shots. That time he came out very aggressively. A play called by Phil Jackson to get Kobe going.
Bryant's got 14 and makes a good grab here after Green's defense. Rice for 2. Delk the other way. Delk around the Weber screen and down the lane. Rejected by Shaquille O'Neal. Bryant fires it into Harper. Knocked down by Pollard. And a Sacramento foul.
I think Shaq's getting ready for the Knicks series and against the Phoenix Suns right here. But you know what? We didn't see a lot of this against Sacramento Game 3 and Game 4 because Shaq was in early foul trouble and he always had to be a little bit more defensive. And now he can just play like Shaq does. He dominates the inside.
Well, and you're absolutely right, Danny. And he was in early foul trouble because the Kings' game plan was not to shoot long jump shots, but to attack a Shaq. Go in early, get him in the psychological mood where he wasn't as positive as he is now. But today they went outside. They made shots, but it didn't create a problem for Shaq.
I would hate to be the center defending Shaq when he doesn't have any foul trouble coming into the game because he's just going to get a foot closer to the basket using that weight and that body.
Divac has 4 fouls on the bench. Lakers have their biggest lead of 20 in this 5th and deciding game.
Well, really, Danny, you defend Shaq, as you know, with your offense, not with your defense as much. Because if you get him in trouble, then he cannot at all defend.
O'Neal brings in his 16th rebound tonight. A riveting performance for Shaquille O'Neal. And look at the shooting in this quarter alone by Los Angeles. AC Green. Bryant with 3 to shoot. A 3. Green comes out of no place, got the ball. Harper saves it. The hustle of Anderson will try to get it back. It's out of bounds, and it's off Sacramento.
You got to love AC Green's heart. Had a bad game in Game 4. He's come out with a lot of inspiration here, getting offensive rebounds, fighting Weber. He's much more aggressive defensively and offensively.
Lakers plus 22. 37 to 15 in the rebounding category. Incredible dominance. Rebounding is what kept the Kings in the last 2 games. Nice pass by O'Neal to Green. Delk is there.
A good pass maybe to the wrong man with the help coming. Green is a great offside rebounder and a great follow-up guy. Maybe give it to one of the shooters, Kobe or the Rice.
Weber has carried the Kings on his back tonight. Tries here with a contorted move inside.
Great shot. Good defense right there by AC Green. That's just difficult to defend. They don't mind if he shoots shots like that.
18 for Chris Weber. But a lot of it from outside.
And when you're shooting 7 for 19, the Lakers are very happy about his shooting percentage right now.
Even the famous like what's going on. David Spade with a smile. 63-year-old Diane Cannon. Ed Norton. And that guy. What are you laughing about, John? Hey, Kobe Bryant hit a 3. Here's Jason Williams at the other end. It's picked up by Delk, and his shot in the paint will go. Another offensive rebound, and there is the aggressive Kobe Bryant flying the other way, down the lane. Shaq is there, clobbered by Pollard. Down goes O'Neal. With the Lakers enjoying their biggest lead tonight of 21 points, 78 to 57.
Well, and I think it was a hard foul, but I don't think it was as hard as it looked. I think Shaq really is taking a rest break because he filled the lane and came down to follow up this shot. It was a hard shot. It was a hard foul. He was stopping him from putting it up. But the crowd reacted to what it appeared to be, not what it was. Look, he's just laying back, taking it easy back there.
That's a good hard foul. I've tried to take on hard fouls on Shaq before, and he's dunked me into the basket. So you've got to be extra strong with him, or he's going to get an and one, and they want him shooting free throws, especially the way he's shooting in the last few games.
They had a tremor here yesterday of 2.5 on the Richter scale. That was about a 6-pointer right there. He fell. You could feel the thud all the way over here.
And don't forget, and I want you guys to remember that the big guy felt the pain too.
You think so, Danny, or not?
I don't know. Maybe to knock some sense into him, get a little more arch on his free throw.
Big man abuse. That's all I suffer here is big man abuse.
Fisher back in the game. Divac on the bench with 4 fouls. And the Lakers have built their lead now to the largest margin tonight of 23 points. Stojakovic in the game with John Barry. Oh, here's a steal by AC Green. Bryant trails. And a foul on Sacramento.
The Lakers are a lot more alert defensively. They make the trap. Green rotates over and gets the ball. Interestingly enough, Fisher is one of the people that got them going. And he's been on the bench, and now he comes back in, and the defense steps up again.
AC Green tonight, 6 points. He and Horry over the last 2 games combined from the power forward position a total of 10 points. So tonight now with his 7 and Horry's 6, they've done the job from that position, which was such a concern.
And they just keep the ball alive on the offensive boards. AC didn't even have a rebound in Game 4 either. He's come out with a lot of energy, steals, rebounding, and he's been a lot more aggressive on Weber, holding Weber to 7 for 19 from the floor.
Well, maybe those drums that Craig Sager talked about at the top of the show worked.
Weber trying to go between his legs. Diving for it is Fisher. And out of bounds it goes. A great hustle nonetheless with 3 minutes to play in the third.
Great energy right here, but I don't know what he's trying to do with the dribble right there. AC's very active defensively. Good hustle by both of those players, Delk and Fisher. They've been hustling the whole series. I don't know about those drums, though, Coach. I've been watching AC play since he was in high school, and he's always played with this kind of energy.
Well, what are the drums for? I thought maybe the drums inspired him to play.
I think Game 5 inspired him to play.
We all know that the Lakers are drumming the Kings into submission. Nice defense by Fisher. Oh, is he feisty. He has brought new energy to the Lakers tonight. They're on their feet. Pandemonium inside the Staples Arena. Shaquille O'Neal has grabbed this game by the throat and squeezed.
I don't read anything into it. At least there's energy flowing. These guys are in a tough competitive game. They made up at the end of it. A lot of times too much are made over those little altercations that go on with players.
Great work by our crew. Craig, what do you have on that?
Well, John Sally basically was telling them it's over. He could sense that maybe Sacramento was quitting. And then Kobe Bryant came back and said, don't talk like that. We can't let up. Kevin?
And look at the intensity of this defense. They need to go back and have another argument.
And inside a Laker foul. John, you've always enjoyed a good argument.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's good for your blood circulating. It's good for defensive intensity. And I've got the king of arguments sitting right beside me in Danny Ainge.
I think John wasn't saying to quit. The game's over. I think he's saying, hey, I sense that they're ready to quit. Keep the pressure on them. He by no means was telling Kobe Bryant to quit, but Kobe's a young, emotional, fired-up guy, and I love it. I love those arguments.
There's no doubt, though, there has been a tremendous amount of pressure on this team with the tag of being invincible. They've been hardly invincible in this series.
Well, and absolutely. And they have pressure on them, too, even though they're good. Everybody was starting to ask whether the team really had clothing on him after those two defeats. I mean, these guys are experiencing pressure. They're responding very well to it today, though.
Shaq has 18 rebounds and 28 points. 2.5 to play in the third. Foul away from the ball.
You know, they've been nearly invincible at home.
Well, all they have to do is win every home game, and they have the championship. This is the only team that doesn't have to win any games on the road.
That's the reality of the situation,
exactly.
And that's what Phil Jackson told his team. He said, we don't have to win anything but home games to win the championship.
And it didn't look like they believed that in Sacramento.
The way they played, you're absolutely correct.
Green at the line. Foul was called on Chris Webber. He's got 2. As you take a look at Shaq, O'Neal has 18, the entire Sacramento team 20, and coming in the #1 priority. The three of us talked about rebounding for the Kings. And they have not got enough of what we just saw Webber do right there.
Well, that's exactly right.
Delp for 3. Over the backboard and out of bounds. Well, Danny, I think you brought this up in the open. The Kings' road record was abysmal. In fact, the worst of any of the playoff teams coming in.
They're not near as aggressive here or as confident from the very get-go. You know, they made some outside shots early on, but they haven't attacked defensively or offensively with the same intensity and confidence they did at home with that crowd.
Rice into Shaq. Gentle hook. Rebound retrieved by Green. Another Laker rebound and another Sacramento foul. This one is on John Barry.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Kevin. Shaquille got open that time because Kobe set a screen. The thing I love about Kobe this year as opposed to last year is now I think he's playing to win as opposed to playing to look good. I'm extremely impressed with how he's suppressing his individual ability for the good of this team. He's got championship on his mind right now.
They called a flagrant foul on John Barry. And Green hits. That's the second one on Barry in this series. He's not afraid to tangle up.
Well, he's not afraid to tangle up, but I don't think that the Kings ever got over that emotional outbreak in the beginning when they got the illegal defensive calls. Those things can sometimes become very distracting, and they never regain the intensity that they had the last game.
And then Rick Adelman got one too. Shaq is leaving, 28 points and 18 rebounds. Travis Knight comes in.
Phil Jackson hopes he's leaving for good if the rest of the team can keep.
Kobe with the miss. 27-point lead. Kings have missed their last 6. Weber. And fouled inside. This one goes on Travis Knight, who just came in. An original Laker, was sent to Boston in a trade, then came back to Los Angeles. He's out of UConn. As you take a look at Chris Webber. Again, after so much deployment of his shots down low in games 3 and 4, a completely different way this offense has looked tonight.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with what Coach was talking about earlier. Just the defense of the Lakers has been so much more intense. The openings haven't been there. It's just not that easy to say, just drive the ball every time when everybody's waiting for it. So it's not so much Chris's fault, and it's tough to do that against a good Laker defense.
Derek Martin has come in the game for the first time and takes the plays of Tony Delk. Martin played at UCLA. Here's Bryant to Rice, dancing on Stojakovic with a great fake inside. Oh, a pretty play turned in by Glenn Rice.
Well, again, a fake at the end of the drive as opposed to just going in and throwing up something ridiculous. But I think it's extremely important for Rice to get off and to have some success out here, particularly in games in the future.
Another Laker foul. This one then Kobe Bryant, who tried to cut right in front of John Barry. Second on Kobe.
Sacramento with a miserable first half shooting, only 37%. It's even worse this quarter, shooting under 30%. Tough to win, and that's a lot of credit needs to go to the Laker defense.
3 starters on the bench right there. As Barry hits the first free throw, his brother Brent was playing tonight in the losing cause for Seattle as Utah won in Salt Lake City. They advance against Portland, and so the only unfinished business out of the first round in the NBA playoff picture is this right here. Lakers and Sacramento in Game 5.
It looks finished to me.
Green. Shot clock at 7 tonight.
You know, Travis Knight had a great rookie year here with the Lakers because he got all his minutes alongside Shaq. Shaq drew so much attention. Knight did a very nice job of working for the offensive rebounds and blocking some shots and hitting the perimeter shot. But now they have him playing in place of Shaq, and it's a lot tougher responsibility for him to be a center in this league.
Well, and probably because of Phil's philosophy and bringing in some of the older guys to add some maturity to this team.
Greg Sager told us that during practice today, they did not practice here in the Staples Center, but rather at their private training facility out in El Segundo, and drums were beaten. And some of that Zen philosophy, Craig, was used this morning, huh? I heard drums in the background right there. That might be Craig pounding on the drums for all we know. He may have learned something.
I think Craig's looking for the drums. I think he heard the drums and something happened to him.
This is a city for him to enjoy, and a great story in the Lakers.
Those drums only work when you're up by 20, though. I can tell you that, because you start beating the drum in your behind, they have you declared insane.
Bryant tonight rotating to Rice. Another whistle, and this is a foul on Sacramento. And Craig, the drums must have worked because the Lakers are beating the Kings like a drum in tonight's game.
Well, yeah, they are. If you remember in Sacramento, they also had some drums there in Sacramento, but their drums were different type drums. Those drums were old cultural drums from Japanese culture, and they also were from the Buddhist tradition, which basically means that there's a spirit in the air. The ones that Coach was using are definitely Warpath drums from Native America, from nearby where he lives in Montana, and he definitely meant for the team to be on the Warpath.
Our percussion instrument expert, Craig Sager. Here's Rice. Half minute to play here in the third quarter, and the wind has been taken out of the crowd. They came here early. They were loud early in the game, and they have generated what the Lakers needed, emotion coming into this decisive Game 5. The miss by Martin, the rebound by Brian Shaw in for the first time.
Well, and you're not going to answer this thing by just throwing up threes. You got to try to get out and generate some tempo here and try to ease your way at least closer to these guys.
Derek Fisher launching the three. Pollard gets it and the buzzer sounds. The Kings did not finish well in the third quarter. No field goals the final 5 minutes or so. Smiles on the faces of the Lakers as they lick their chops with a quarter to go. Lakers, great season reduced to a single game. Looks to be Lakers in 5.
Green's done a great job as well.
And the fourth quarter is underway. Ori, Shaw, Shaq is back in with Rick Fox and Derek Fisher. Fisher has been a spark plug tonight, igniting the team. Shaquille O'Neal. Rice tapping it up and in.
Well, that's the thing that they've done a good job of, is that in this game, the guys who weren't shooting the ball followed and gotten offside positions and tapped balls in, whereas last time the Lakers just stood around and watched Shaq shoot and nobody went to the offensive boards.
Foul called on Fox. The Los Angeles Lakers tonight as Fox picks up number 2. The Los Angeles Lakers tonight, John, 18 offensive rebounds.
Well, that's the result of movement. You don't get offensive rebounds by letting the defense stand in the middle and one guy shooting. But once you get movement and continuity in your offense, you increase your options to be able to go to the offensive boards as the Lakers have done tonight.
Fisher with the third foul. All right, you former coaches, what does Rick Adelman tell his Sacramento team on the road down 91-62 with the end in sight?
You can't say it on the air. You can't say what he tells them on the air.
Martin to Weber. Fisher knocked it away. Fisher with the steal. He's done it all tonight.
He's been so energizing to this crowd. The crowd loves the guy. He's all over the court. He's been making his shots. When he's making his shots, he's a very effective player.
No, the Kings have to create tempo now. They have to pressure the ball. They have to get out and try to run. And they definitely have to get the clock to stop by penetrating just to shut this thing.
What a sweet move by Shaquille O'Neal inside. What nimbleness. An adroit move around the defense. Moments ago, Phil Jackson had a chance to talk to his team.
Hey, we got 12 minutes. Treat this like a practice. Said we ain't gonna practice hard tomorrow.
So keep the floor space and then attack them. Change sides of the floor.
1, 2, 3,
Thanks.
Shaq did not make the subsequent free throw. Doesn't complete the three-point play. O'Neal at the line tonight, 2 of 7. Stojakovic weaving his way inside. Pollard had a hand on it. So did Ori. And here comes Rick Fox out of the fray. To Shaw. To Ori. Slashing toward the lane. Knocked away and picked up. Shaq got it back. Puts it into Ori. Oh, what a play by O'Neal.
Well, that was a lucky play. Shaq didn't want to get back on defense before he went for the steal. And Ori should not be putting the ball on the floor because he doesn't have that in his game. But they're treating it like practice. And in practice, I'm sure they do those things.
Weber with the three. Off the rim and over the backboard and out of bounds.
Well, Dan is absolutely correct. I mean, you don't intercept the ball if you're the postman, if you're 7 feet down at the other opponent's end of the court. I mean, you've got to run back the defense so it was a careless pass, and as a result of it, the Kings have got to be very careful of their concentration.
Oh, Shaquille O'Neal! Up high and down hard! The Sacramento Kings are looking more like dust than destiny.
They call that the Shaw-Shaq redemption right there.
What's going to be when they grow up, pal? Man alive.
Hey, those are the John Stockton shorts. He still wears those shorts. That's why I love John Stockton right now.
On a personal note, Craig Sager and I used to broadcast the Kansas City Kings. We were both play-by-play guys for him back in the early 80s.
Well, forget about the shorts. Danny should have passed the ball back to Kenny. Kenny hit him on the wing and cut down the middle, and he forced the shot.
Here's John Barry at the free throw line. Shaw picked up his first foul. Last time, in fact, that the then Kansas City Kings won a playoff series was 1981, and Sager was broadcasting the games with Neil Funk, the voice of the Chicago Bulls.
I think Sager has saved all his jackets from that era.
Craig, he took a direct shot at your wardrobe, which I personally like.
Hey, all I know is my record is still intact. That was a great team. Phil Ford, Otis Birdsong, Scotty Wedman, Sam Lacey, Reggie King, and Ernie Grunfeld, who I called Dr. E instead of Dr. J. He was fabulous in that series. They went all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
And Cotton Fitzsimmons and his assistant in those early 80s in Kansas City, Frank Hamlin, who is on the Laker bench tonight.
And since then, or after that, they went on 15 consecutive years with losing records with players like Danny Ainge and Reggie Theus and Kenny the Jet Smith.
There's Frank right there. That's funny. Williamson down the lane, dishing off to Lawrence Funderburk, and a foul is called on the Lakers before the shot was deployed. This weekend, Game 1, Philadelphia at Indiana. And the Pacers trying to regroup after that rugged series against Milwaukee. Philly hoping a healthy Allen Iverson is ready. Then the Knicks and Miami on Sunday. Game 1 in Miami. Lawrence Funderburk. Rebound by Shaw. And the cat calls beginning now to cascade down from the upper deck here at the Staples Center. Sally is in. Fox to Ori. Shot clock at 7. Williamson defending. Oh, nice up and under move by Ori, who fights for it. And it's slapped back out to Barrett. Kings, no field goals in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Complete unraveling by Sacramento. And a foul called inside on the Los Angeles Lakers. Shaw for a third time.
Well, looking at that, this is a heck of an effort on the part of the Lakers, and I think it's very essential because one of the things that got them in trouble in the last ball game is they didn't get as much help from a lot of their bench people. Now, a lot of their starters are sitting on the bench, Kevin. This is very important, particularly as they move on in the playoff, that these guys take advantage of this playing opportunity and possibly start to feel comfortable out in some of the things that they didn't feel comfortable in doing.
97-66, the Lakers, who had Danny coming into this game, lost 2 consecutive games.
Well, I think it's not going to have that big of an impact, quite honestly. If anything, I think it's going to be more of a positive impact because I think they're playing better basketball today than they even did in games 1 and game 2 when they dominated. I like the spacing of their offense a lot better. They're moving the ball and moving their bodies.
Phil Jackson said, he said, this is good for this team. They haven't really been through adversity, and John, all season long, you said you wanted to see what happens when the Lakers took one on the chin, and sure enough, they did in Northern California.
Well, they took one on the chin, and they responded very well, but I don't think the question is how is it going to affect them as much as how will it affect their opponents in the future. I think in losing those 2 games, they let their opponents realize that they are capable of being beaten if you play smart and if you play the correct way.
They didn't have to play in this game. You know we have some interested viewers in Phoenix tonight. Derek Martin for 2. Rebound by Ori. Sacramento has missed their last 12 shots from the field. It's all but over.
See, and this is good because they're running their offense. A lot of these guys won't get an opportunity to get shots in a lot of the situations, particularly when Shaq and Kobe and Rice are in the game. See, that's important. It's important for Fox to hit that shot, and it's very important for him to hit it when they play that next opponent.
Good point. The drive by Martin. The charge on Martin. All right, now what?
That's a flop.
Yeah. The Indiana Pacers, congratulations on their thrilling win last night, and congratulations to George Karl and the Milwaukee Bucks. They played an incredible series against the top seed in the East.
What about Reggie Miller last night, though? That guy was unbelievable.
41 points, a playoff career high. Martin the no-look on the 2-on-3 with Thunderbird, and it won't go, but a foul called on Los Angeles.
Well, that's the tempo I would have loved to have seen earlier in the ballgame. Just pressing, pushing it down the court on offense to get yourself to a point where you cause the Lakers to foul and cause them to play defense in the full court as opposed to how aggressively they did play it in half court.
If we put our man Sager on that green doll on the top of AC Green's head, as Thunderbird is at the line.
You know, getting back to that Indiana-Milwaukee series, another guy that stepped up in the playoffs this year was Tim Thomas, a free agent this summer. Another young player like Rashard Lewis from Seattle. You know, 2 great young players for the future.
Well, and Tim stepped up big time. If you remember, George Karl said to us that he thought he should have been in consideration for the 6th Man of the Year award.
He was in consideration.
They didn't even list him.
Rick Fox getting some nice time and some minutes inside and trying to rejuvenate his season, which has been somewhat disappointing.
Well, it's been disappointing probably from some perspective, but those guys have been asked to play roles and support Shaq, support Rice, and support Brian. Now they're in a situation where they realize that they need them to take a little bit more initiative on offense.
3-on-2, Sally finds Shaw. Out to Sally, out of basketball the last couple years. And that was out of the rim.
John Sally with a couple of championship rings with Detroit. Great player, defensive player off the bench for Detroit in those days. Big contributor.
Well, you know, Dan, and the thing I like that looking at this right now, the Lakers are not in a playful mood. They're running their offense. Nobody's kidding around. They're getting as much out of this as they can get, and that is very hard to do with this kind of lead.
Great pass by Sally to Shaw. Sally, Danny, also won a championship ring with Chicago and Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I don't count that. Just like if they win one this year, I won't count that ring. Hey, the trainers get rings too.
That's right. Williamson. A gauntlet of Laker defenders and a foul. With 6:13 to play. The Lakers will win this decisive Game 5. Led by 11 after 1, 15 at halftime, 27 points after 3, and their lead now a gigantic 106-69 win over the Kings. That'd be their greatest ever. By the way, at this time last year in this 5th game, they were in Salt Lake City, and they took the Utah Jazz in round 1 to overtime. And D-Bots actually had a chance to win the game late, Danny, which would have propelled the Kings to the 2nd round. But they came up short last year, and they have been woefully short tonight.
And I think that's where everybody thought the expectations grew for Rick Adelman and his team this year because of that great performance against a gutsy Utah team. And unfortunately, that game they lost to Seattle was a big one because the difference of playing Utah and the Lakers right now for Sacramento, I think, was big.
Greg, what do you have?
Well, I have a scout from the Phoenix Suns, Todd Quinter, whose notebook is closed. I guess you've seen enough so far.
I think so. That was quite an awesome display, I think.
What did you learn most about the Lakers? The win tonight or their 2 losses in Sacramento?
Oh, I think we learned the most from them tonight, you know, that they can get through anything. They had a little downfall, and it showed their character was so good, and they came back, and they just destroyed Sacramento.
There's some flaws that were exposed in games 3 and 4. Does that give Phoenix any hope or any chance or added incentive that you think you can beat them?
Well, I don't know if they were flaws. I think more than anything, they relaxed a little bit, and I don't know that they'll do that again.
During the regular season, you're 0-4 against them. Shaq averaged 33 points against Luke Longley's 8. What do you do against Shaq?
Well, I don't know that we can do anything more than anyone else does. You know, we're going to have to come up with a game plan and try to stick with it and hopefully make other people beat us or try to do the best we can on him. Hope for the best.
Thanks a lot. Let's go back to Kevin.
Thank you, Craig. And Danny, you one-time coached this Phoenix team, built the current team they have right now. How do you think they match up against the Lakers in round 2?
Well, first of all, I love the way Penny Hardaway finished the season. And Jason Kidd back, and the fact that he played so good in Game 5 and he's had a few days to rest. I think that guard tandem has a chance to do some very special things. Phoenix's forwards, Rodney Rogers, 6th Man of the Year. Cliff Robinson's had arguably the best year of his career. They need some production out of the 5-man. Sean Marion stepping it up. I think it's going to be a fun series.
Sean. John, what do you think?
Well, one thing for sure, I think that they did learn, and the scout is not going to reveal what they learned. That's why he closed the book and put his elbows on it. They did learn a lot from their defeats, and I think that they'll capitalize on it because they have people like Hardaway. They have people like Robinson. These guys can penetrate to the basket as well as the fact that they shoot the ball extremely well outside. Where they have a problem is they don't have a post-up person like Shaq inside, and Shaq can create a problem for whoever's defending it.
Kings have had 7 3-point shots. Derek Martin authored that last one. Devin George in the game, the rookie from tiny Augsburg College in downtown Minneapolis. A Division III school. Shaw, Funderburk knocked it away. Martin the other way, and the Kings break to the trailing Stojakovic.
Agree with Todd Quinter also on the fact that it's not so much the weaknesses of the Lakers that they saw in those games. I think everybody's known some of the weaknesses they've had, but those games in Sacramento, that was not the Los Angeles Lakers.
Fox has it. Shot clock is down to 10. Devin George tangled up with Berry, who knocked it away, and Funderburk off to Berry, who wants a 3. Rebound Funderburk. You know, the Kings really have had a great run here in the first round.
Well, they got some good young players. I think Jason Williams is getting better. This playoff experience is invaluable for him. I think he needs to have a big summer. Love Stojakovic and the improvement that he's made over the years. And Chris Webber, seems like he's getting better and better all the time. And I think this team has a good future.
And you can't get away from either, Kevin, the fact that this team did, in fact, beat one of the best teams that's in the league, if not the best team in the league. That remains to be seen 2 times in a row. I mean, that is an accomplishment within itself.
4:14 to play, and the Lakers pounding the Kings 108-76. Commanding win by the Los Angeles Lakers. Great job by our crew in our tape room with Rembert Young and crew. Thank you, guys. And Brian Conway. Here's a rebound by Devin George. With 4 minutes to play, Los Angeles Lakers now with thoughts of Phoenix on their mind. And they'll open up that series, that best of 7 here in Los Angeles over the weekend.
You know, one thing that they still have to solve, one thing in the last few games, is Shaq's free throws. He's been shooting the ball very poorly, and I think Phoenix will take advantage of that and foul him every chance they can get.
Driving is Derek Martin trying to puncture the defense. A foul call. There's a look at Shaq, who has 32 points and 18 rebounds tonight. A foul just called on Derek Fisher. And here is the American Express leaderboard. 2,000 playoff scoring leaders. It's Karl Malone on top, Kobe right in back. So 2 Lakers in the top 3.
Well, and again, as I said, I was very impressed with Kobe's timing in this game. And he didn't press. He took his time. He played to win. He didn't play to look good. And that makes them tough.
Which, John, was a criticism from Phil Jackson. He said Kobe tried to do too much in our 2 losses up in Sacramento. But I agree. Tonight he was much more under control, much more calm. A thinking man's player tonight.
Well, and it's a sign of maturity. And I think we'll see the same thing with time from Jason Williams. That Jason Williams' time will go on. We'll learn how to use that extraordinary talent that he has to pick the times to do it.
George got it from Fox.
I think that Kobe was forced to do too much in Sacramento because the team, nobody else was responding. So he was the competitive side of Kobe. He took over the games in the 4th quarter.
Well, as we kind of travel around the second round playoff circuit, we find the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. Miami won the season series, but tough games all around. They've met the last 3 consecutive years with games going to a 7th and final game each time.
That's going to be awesome.
It is. It's going to be
that game 1 is going to have the same feeling as this game 5. I tell you what, that's a great rivalry in sports today. Patrick and Alonzo, 2 of the best big men that have played this game in the last decade, and the rivalry, Riley going to Miami, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I think they already are intense. I talked to Alonzo yesterday. I spoke to Patrick this morning, and both of them, Daddy, were in a terrible mood. They didn't want to be bothered with me. You know, they're in a position where they're getting ready. They're getting fired up for this series.
And one of my favorite highlights of NBA history is Jeff Van Gundy hanging on the shoe of Alonzo Mourning.
Something weird's going to happen in that series. You just don't know when it's going to emerge. But, you know, something out of the ordinary that will just add another chapter to that great rivalry will somehow, some way, work its way into one of those games.
Miami's got a couple of warriors, Tim Hardaway and Dan Marley, on the downside of their careers. Two guys that just keep showing up and having tremendous impact on the success of that team.
Lakers needed bench play tonight, and they got it. Kings were not a shadow of what they were the last couple games. 2-on-1, buried a Thunderbird.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's very difficult to play now, but these guys are keeping their intensity, and they're going up and down the court. It's not turning into a circus, as is the case a lot of times when the game is out of reach. You know, as well as the Lakers have played, I think you have to give a lot of credit to the Kings, and you also have to realize the fact that they just didn't have one of their better games. A lot of that was factored in on how the Lakers played, but the Kings really didn't have the kind of ball game that they had when they were down at their own place.
Sally missing the shot clock. Violation. And one thing, too, that was so absent in the last two Laker losses was the play of power forwards A.C. Green on the left, Robert Horry on the right. You can see what they did in games 1 through 4, but what they did tonight gave a well-rounded view of the Lakers.
Yeah, and they need that performance out of those guys. They're both veteran players. They've been here before. They both are capable of making shots. Robert Horry's made a lot of big three-point shots throughout his NBA playoff career.
I still feel, Kevin, that the series in front of us, the Lakers have a better challenge than most people believe that they do. And I really feel that the Kings have shown that in their competition against them. I don't think that these games are just going to be walk-away games. I think that some things have been revealed about them. One of the things is that if they don't get movement and they just stand around and throw it into Shaq, they're going to have problems. Also, what has been revealed is if Shaq gets in foul trouble very early in the game, it has a tremendous psychological effect on how they play.
Well, the other thing is I think they can handle pressure, too. I don't think Brian Shaw and Ron Harper and Glenn Rice are good enough ball handlers to deal with the pressure that maybe a Phoenix with the depth they have or a Portland with the depth that they have can apply.
3 seconds for Shaw to Fox for 3. Rebound by Thunderbird. And approaching the final minute in the final game of this series. Kings made it interesting. You can say that about it.
Well, they really made it interesting. As I said, you know, to win 2 games in a row, whether you win it on your court or this court, you know, it's extremely important, particularly against a team that has dominated the regular season the way the Lakers have. The Kings, I don't think, have anything to be ashamed of. Guys like Chris Webber came in, stepped up, played extremely well.
Webber tonight had 20 points, the only King in double figures. Whereas the Lakers got 14 from Rice. Green had 10, 32 points and 18 rebounds by O'Neal, 17 points from Bryant. And everybody on the bench scored except John Sally. They shot 52%, and they out-rebounded the Kings 53 to 35, and that was a big number.
Well, that was huge, and that's what happened in Game 1 and Game 2. And I think the biggest factor also is the fact that Webber, even though he had 20 points, 7 for 21 shooting. We were on the power forwards before. They did a great job tonight defensively against Webber.
8 seconds left. The Kings commit a foul. As the celebrities begin to file out, there's Dustin Hoffman with a hug for Vlade Divac, who won a lot of hearts here as a first-round pick. Back in the early 90s, he did win a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. But the Los Angeles Lakers and the Sacramento Kings with a hard-fought first round with some well-deserved handshakes and sportsmanship.
Exactly. I mean, the great sportsmanship. You talk about the fusses, the arguments. I mean, these guys know they've gone to war, they've played, but they appreciate and respect what the others have done.
The Los Angeles Lakers advance. A great series, and the Kings made it that way. Let's send it over to Craig Sager.
Well, Shaq, you guys led from start to finish. Possibly a key moment was early in the game when they had the 2 illegal defensive calls. How did that open the game for you?
First of all, before we get started, I'd like to thank my role model, my mentor, Philip Harrison.
he kept my mind going straight. You know, I was kind of hard on myself because I had 2 bad games in Sacramento, but, you know, he told me, he says, "You dummy, you always play bad in Sacramento. And when you come home tonight, let's bring it." So, you know, I want to thank him for inspiring me, keeping me out of trouble. I also want to thank my teammates for, you know, coming to play. You know, they were hitting shots tonight.
Phil Harrison, that's Sergeant Harrison, your father.
That's right. That's my pops.
What effect did Phil Jackson have, and how do you respond to today when you walk into the shoot-around and he bangs the war drums and says you guys are on the warpath?
Well, you know, we had